Let's explore the overlapping Venn diagram of romance, meditation, and divine timing. Contrary to the ravings of poop heads, romantic desire is not a spiritual indictment. We don't have romantic desire because we believe in a permanent or independent self. We have romantic desire because of evolution. All complex life forms have evolved to reproduce. The only successful organisms, the only organisms that reproduce, are the ones that are driven to do so. Our dopamine-oriented reward system has evolved to desire romantic encounters. Our oxytocin-oriented reward system has evolved to crave long-term fulfilling relationships. You put it together, what do you get? A desire for both romantic as well as sexual relationships. So we are wired for that. And don't let anyone beat you up and tell you that it's some sort of an indictment. It's not. Not at all. The question is, what are we going to do with those things so they do not make us stark raving mad? Might I suggest relying upon the Buddha's Eightfold Path? The second fold of the Eightfold Path is wishing love. During this morning's during this morning's third mantra meditation, we can sincerely wish that all beings everywhere enjoy deeply fulfilling relationships. So what we do is we take our own selfish desire for a romantic relationship and we use it to fuel universal love, that all beings' romantic needs be met in the most wonderful way. And so we take the engine which would drive our frustration and we reframe it to allow it to instead drive our universal love. Let us consider now the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, right view. During the, during the third exercise of the second set of mantra meditations, we will explore how, as we relax into our exhalation, all the relationships that we perceive, emote, intend, or reason, recall, and imagine during our inhalation can begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. We allow this contemplation to be fueled by mantra recitation, and it will help us to let go, not to shove away, but to make peace with the absence of that which we desire. Not to stop desiring it, but to make peace with the moment, present moment, whether that moment be fulfilling or frustrating. Right mindfulness is part of our silent meditation practice. As we breathe in, we are wired, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, to notice, not to actively concentrate, but to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And so it is entirely conceivable, if not probable, that thoughts of emotional and romantic and sexual frustration could cartwheel across the stage of your mind. That's fine. That's not an indictment. As we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we're wired to physically relax and mentally release. That doesn't mean we are shoving our frustrations away. It means we're transcending our resistance to the presence of that which we find unpleasant, as well as the absence of that which we suspect will be more fulfilling. So what we're doing is we're not trying to say everything has to be just so or I can be happy. We're doing the opposite. We're saying whatever's going on, I'm going to bring it into the path of the Eightfold Path. I'm going to bring it into the path of love contemplation and wisdom contemplation, as well as mindfulness and meditation. A delightful fringe benefit of right mindfulness and right meditation is the right flow of effortless effort. When our choices, utterances, and deeds surrender to the flow state, we become as way-seeking Jedi of yore. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of most schools of Taoism and each school of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. This morning, let's play with Diamond Mind's Easy Dzogchen. Our first practice is known in Tibetan as Lama Kieno, which translates into English as calling the teacher as from afar. When we approach this figuratively, we see that this is an exercise for energy work that supports us in our efforts to practice bliss and letting go. It's known by many names, including completion stage, Bindu Mahamudra, Anu Yoga, and Tikle or drop. Consider the statue of two individuals sporting in a tantric union that is reminiscent of the mindfulness latent within in each of our inhalations and the meditation latent within each of our exhalations. The smaller couple sitting in tantric union literally represents the teaching, the teacher, or the teachings, and metaphorically represents the energy that we are inviting to coalesce at our crown or the top of our head. During each inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite the wish, Lama, come to this crown. During each exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can, while silently and mentally reciting this 6-syllable mantra. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. As children, the first bicycle we most likely received came with training wheels, which, although were clunky, got the job done. Similarly, this morning's first contemplative exercise is going to be ungainly. During each inhalation, let's do two things. First, let's sit up nice and straight, as if generating a vertical traction between our tush and our head. Second, let's silently and mentally recite the 12-syllable phrase, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. During each exhalation, let's do two more things. Let's physically relax our bodies as best we can, while silently and mentally reciting, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. We now begin our outer preliminary practices, or ngondro, which initiate our journey upon the joyful path of effort, the sixfold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Right aspiration, or wishing love, is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, and it all begins by noticing others' distress. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the wholesome wish, may I notice others' stress. As we exhale, we can physically relax as best we can while chanting this six-syllable mantra, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let us progress further upon the same path and choose to use causality in an effort to benefit all beings around us. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Right view is the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. In change, may we see the folly of clinging. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Once again, right enthusiasm. Right, effortless effort is the sixth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. May you make the most of these opportunities. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Now let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels, thus reducing the length of our contemplative exercise from 12 syllables per breath down to just 3. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Notice this." During our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Relaxing." And as we do, you will find that we are practicing sati passaddhi. We continue with the inner preliminary practices or ngondo, aiding us in the continuance of our journey upon the joyful path of effortless effort, sixfold of the Buddha's eightfold path. May we free all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and confusion by relying upon the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. May we learn from our errors. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. May we enthusiastically share all that we have. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. We're going to practice the technique known in Tibet as Lama Naljor, which is also known in Sanskrit as Guru Yoga. This is going to help us to traverse energy work's path of bliss and letting go. So once again, this statue of a couple sporting in tantric union remind us of inhalations, mindfulness, exhalations, meditation, and the personification of the teachings energetically resting at our heart. Lama, come to this heart. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let's remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing the length of our contemplative exercise from 3 syllables per breath down to just 1. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Doing so, we find that we're practicing dhyana. At last, we bring the experiences of the 4 bases of mindfulness, the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental, into mantra meditation's path of conventional love and letting go, where we emphasize love. This is known by many names, including generation or creation stage, Tantra Mahamudra, Mahayoga, Tokal, which translates as leap over. Wishing love is the second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Let's lovingly wish that each being's mind was now as wise as the mind of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized as a 1-syllable mantra known as a seed, tikle, or bija. So the use of the phrase of the words as repeated in close proximity, infer that this is a simile. During our inhalation, we could lovingly wish great wisdom for all minds. Now, this is important. It's not our job to do magic. It's not our job to actively visualize or emote or believe. All we got to do, if all we do is silently and mentally play with these words in harmony with our breathing and our mantra, we will make progress on the path. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. If we wish, we could play with the metaphoric version of the same wish, bija wise for all minds. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum, 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 Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum. Now that we have reached contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Please do not wait until the end to post your questions. Rather, strike while the iron is hot. Kind communication. So this pertains directly to this morning's lesson. This pertains directly to bringing romance into the path of divine timing. While we're waiting for the metaphoric cosmic tumblers to fall into place in our own life, we take our own romantic and sexual and interpersonal frustrations and our selfish desire for their fulfillment and turn it inside out into universal desire for all beings' fulfillment. Kind communication is the third fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. Let's lovingly wish that each being's experience of the interpersonal was now as loving as the speech of a real or imagined Buddha, symbolized by a multisyllabic mantra. So during our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the loving wish, profound love for all speech. And we're using speech as a synonym for our metaphor for our experience of the interpersonal, whether that be vocational, recreational, platonic, or intimate. Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum. If you wish, you may play with the metaphoric version of this wish, mantra love for all speech. Om Vajrasattva Hum, 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 Om Vajrasattva Hum. 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 Let us relax into Sutra Mahamudra. Kind conduct is the fourth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Let's lovingly wish that each being's body was now as healthy as the body of a real or imagined archetype of enlightenment, Devi or Yidam, as depicted in Buddhist art. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the loving wish, profound health for all forms. Form is a synonym of body. Om Vajrasattva Hum. 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 If you wish, you may silently and mentally recite the metaphoric version of the same wish, Yidam health for all forms. Om Vajrasattva Hum. 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 If metaphors and similes are so prone to being misunderstood, why work with them? Because we evolved to think symbolically. Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum. Let us relax into the practice of Chan. Kind commerce is the fifth fold of the Buddha's eightfold path. Let's lovingly wish that each being's circumstance was now as safe and fortunate as the paradise, Pure Land, or Vati of a real or imagined Buddha as depicted in Buddhist art. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite good fortune for all lots. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. We're using lot as a synonym for circumstance. If you wish, you could play with the metaphoric version of the same wish, Vati boon for all lots. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let us relax into the practice of Proto-Zen. Now we'll bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness into mantra meditation's path of ultimate love and letting go, where we emphasize letting go. Although, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, circumstances could vividly appear during our inhalation, as we relax during our exhalation, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise, Pure Land, or Vati, comprised only of light. So we're going to play now with a series of rhetorical questions. We could begin with the rhetorical question, how see lots, yet can't grasp? As we relax into our exhalation, whatever lots we saw during our inhalation could feel less graspable. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. If you wish, you may play with the metaphoric version of this question, how lots seen yet void like Vati. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. 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 Let us relax into the great coalescence. Though bodies could feel quite sensual during our inhalation, as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable, as a real or imagined archetype of enlightenment or yidam comprised only of light. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the rhetorical question, how feel forms yet can't grasp. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. 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 If you wish, you may play with the metaphoric version of the question. How forms felt yet? Void like yidam. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Although the interpersonal could, so this is also what was referred to during the opening lesson, where we take romantic frustrations and we bring them into the path of the wisdom of letting go. By the way, if you've just joined us, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist chanting, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. There is no need to wait till the end. It's better if you strike while the iron is hot. Although the interpersonal could sound resounding during our inhalation, as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. And of course, this is what us big kids call a simile. As you inhale, please silently and mentally recite the rhetorical question, how hear speech, yet can't grasp. During your exhalation, please relax as best you can while chanting this 6-syllable mantra. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. If you wish, during the inhalation, you could silently and mentally recite the metaphoric version of the same rhetorical question. How speech heard yet? Void-like mantra. So allow me to break this down for you. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever interpersonal experience we heard or perceived during our inhalation could feel less graspable. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let us relax into great completion stage. Although mind's functions of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination could be perceived quite clearly during our inhalation, as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha's one-syllable mantra or bija, comprised only of light. During your inhalation, you could silently and mentally recite the rhetorical question, how mind's clear, yet can't grasp. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajrasattva Hum. Om Vajrasattva Hum. If you wish, during the inhalation, you could silently and mentally recite the metaphoric version of the same question. Our mind's clear yet, void like bija. Om Vajrasattva Hum. 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 Let us relax into Dzogchen's great completion stage. Let us transcend the vertical duality of samsara and nirvana. By metaphorically inviting all the real or imagined Buddhas, their paradises, and their denizens to dwell in 84,000 pores of our skin. Thus practicing the body mandala of devotion and letting go. Om Vajrasattva Hum. 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 Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let's bring the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as the yoga of inconceivability. What could it look like if all circumstances impermanently and blissfully melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this body? Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. What could it feel like if all bodies of all beings impermanently and blissfully melted into rainbow light and that interdependently absorbed into this experience of the interpersonal? Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. What could it sound like if all beings' experience of the interpersonal impermanently and blissfully melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into this mind? Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. What could it be like if all minds of all beings impermanently and blissfully melted into rainbow light that interdependently absorbed into a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand? Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let us relax into Ati Yoga's utmost union. Now let us bring the spontaneous play of mind into silent meditation's path of awareness and letting go. This too is known by many names, including Dzogchen's Great Completion Stage, Sutra Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, and Treksha, which translates from the Tibetan as slicing through the duality of hope and fear. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, 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 Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Now, together, let us slice through the duality of hope and fear. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum, Om Vajra Sattva Hum. Let us relax into Treksha's slice through the duality of hope and fear. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. 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 Let us relax into Treksha. Let us seal this practice with universal love. Let's try this again. Om Vajra Sattva Hum. 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 If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.